Today, I'm going to show you how I made this edit from start to finish. First things first, I have to address this. Thank you everyone for 100 subscribers. Now back to the video. Now since my last two tutorials went down pretty well, I thought I might merge those two videos and try and show you my process for making a full edit. This means we are going to go from the thinking of an idea and concept to editing and finishing the final outcome. Now, when I did my first two tutorials, I wanted them to be pretty quick and still very helpful. I've seen tutorials on YouTube that either take so long, like over hours, or they are too short and they don't explain what they did and how they did it. So when I was making the other tutorials, I wanted to make them suitable lengths and to have clear explanations. But I'm not sure how this one will go down. It could take like over 30 minutes, or it could be all explained in 5. I guess I'll see once I've finished editing. But anyways, hopefully, this video will show you any young and upcoming designers that making an edit takes a long time and yet you have to be patient. And to also share how I do things and what my styles are. So let's get into it. Now, the very first thing that we have to do before we even open Photoshop, we have to decide and figure out what we are editing. For me, there are two main things I do to get ideas. One, I look around on Instagram, Pinterest, etc. for ideas. Everybody does this. It's the main reason we have social media in the first place, to show people what we create and leave an influence. But sometimes this can lead to straight copying and plagiarism. And let me tell you now, if you're going to use someone else's work, give credit. I know thinking for new ideas is tough, but if you're going to copy someone's design, please give them credit. You will honestly get less criticism from people if you do give credit. I have taken someone's design before and didn't give credit, and people told me about it. It's not a good feeling. So if you take ideas, just give credit. And the second thing I do to get ideas is take a break. And just relax and look around you. Believe it or not, but design is all around us. Looking at a door, someone designed that. Looking at trees, there's a theme right there. If you step back and relax sometimes, ideas will come to your head. Now here's my idea for this edit. We'll get a close photo of Morant and put him in a snowy forest with a warm sunset in the background. There'll be a grizzly bear in the background and I can add some blurred leaves to add some depth to the field. Now we have a plan, let's get editing. Now the first thing to do is get the color of the background right. So I press Ctrl J and go to color balance. I adjusted the photo to have more blue for more of a snow effect. Now we have to cut out the player. And of course, I'm using the pen tool and masking him. Now the main thing I dread about editing is cutting out the hair. Most players that I choose either have bald heads or very short hair, but since Yar has dreadlocks, this is going to be a bit more difficult. First, duplicate the layer and adjust the brightness and lower the contrast. This makes the hair easier to trace. So now we use the magnetic lasso tool. Now go around the hair with the tool and cut out both layers. Now delete the brighten layer and double click on the mask layer. This will open up, and use this brush. We will make an outline of the hair and make the hair more frizzier and blurred. It will make the cutout look more realistic. Now to make the backdrop more accurate, duplicate the background layer and blur it. Also give the blurred layer a mask. Then you can draw the points of the background that doesn't need to be blurred, like the ground and pathway. Now I usually do this last, but I'm adding the hue and saturation filter. We also need to get rid of this hand on the player. Later I'm going to be putting a leaf over it, but I want to fix the jersey. And to do that I'm using the stamp tool and patch tool. I went over what these tools do in my jersey swap tutorial, so go check that out if you don't know what they do. Now I have to add highlights and shadows. So to add a highlight around the player, first select the color of the light, create a new layer holding the Alt button, then tick the box. This will mask around the player. Now just trace around him with a medium-sized brush, and change the blending mode to linear dodge add. And since the light is behind the player, you can trace around the whole body. And we can also make a shadow inside his legs, create a new layer, get a big black soft brush and brush the inside of the legs like this. Now we get a small white soft brush to make an outline around the player, just for an extra detail. I might just make the background a little darker. Now we can add a snow effect. I have a snow effect brush. You can just download it for free. So I added some white snow and lowered the opacity to make it blend in more. Now you're going to add highlights onto the hair. Go to hue and saturation, make sure it is clipped to the player, change the option to colorize and move it to an orange. Add some more lightness to it and change the blending mode to screen. Then click on the mask and erase everything except the hair. This adds more lightness to the hair from the sun. Now we need to go onto images and find a transparent photo of leaves. Once you have the photo put into Photoshop, adjust the colors and brightness and blur them out to add some depth and field. Now for an extra effect, I am adding some fog on the foreground, and I will also lower the opacity because it just looks weird like this. Another thing I like to do is to add extra shadows on the body of the people. Make a new layer above the player, get a soft black brush and brush over the arm of the player. Now take the pen tool and trace around the arm, go around the outside to connect it at the end, then delete the selected space and you have an inner shadow. Go to images and find an image of a grizzly bear. then put it in the background, change the colors and the brightness, then the shadows and lighting. And another thing we can do for extra detail is add a flare to the sun. Find an image, change the blending mode to whatever that one fits. And to finish it all off, we can go to camera roll filter, mix all the options to find something that you like. And there you go, a full edit. As you probably figured out though, my dialogue throughout the video, I was repeating myself a lot. And that's the thing with Photoshop. Some parts are just doing the same thing over and over again. That's why I sped up some parts that I already went over. I just want to say thank you for 100 subscribers to the channel. It really means a lot. And thanks again over to the people who follow my Instagram. Hopefully you learned something and I was clear enough with my explaining. If you enjoyed this, check out my other videos and check out my Instagram. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment, please subscribe and share it with someone who might need this.